Welcome to my potential work site. You know where you are? You know where you are. That is the proposed mural project. I'll show you. Welcome to my temporary office. So one of these days I'll show you how a work in progress progresses from blank paper to finish. First step, take general measurements of what needs to be done. All right, could be as rudimentary as that. Try to figure it out from memory, and definitely make sure you've got the exact dimensions. This wall is 65 feet long by 8 feet tall with a little watershed bed. Yeah, so take that. Don't need to be to scale, just want to get the general dimensions, but then you actually put it to scale. In which case, this isn't exactly to scale as far as lengthwise, but the proportion of the width to the general width of the bed and its depth, which is only about 1.5 feet. So it's not deep at all. And then there's a little wall there and a side here that I would otherwise set this perspective, how you'd finish off that side. But there's some more construction going on here, so that's gonna wait. Nevertheless, let me show you the next phase from doing it to scale. If you know what one of these are, you definitely know. And if you don't got one, you should get one because you're gonna love it. Rough out the general concept. And maybe you'll recognize that. Fill in some details, right? We got the bay, Maltam, Mill Valley area, could be anywhere from whichever perspective you want, you know? So we got the bay coming in here. Yeah, that would be the east bay with the grassy, soft hills. Just as an example of what can be done here to make this more abstract, go from realism to just straight out nothingness in vignette style. And then here we're gonna go do something relevant to that. This isn't actually being seen from many perspectives, or the fewest, especially from down here. They'll be looking up, so no need to go hog wild on that. This is where you're going to want the bigger perspective of something large there. To tie it all together, forcing perspective on a three-dimensional surface in 2 dimensions. And after some more details, like shading to that backdrop, which will mostly be seen from above because what is facing this is a few stories of residence. And so what we did here with the abstract to show what can be done to an edge of a wall is to force the perspective of a cliff-like feature, for instance, boulders, rocks, whatever, that becomes part of the edge of a cliff. And then we get to the skyline back here. That's a top view. That would be looking down. Important features here, windows, it's not a residence. This is otherwise an off-limits walking pad that's 6 feet wide. In which case, yeah, people will still be seeing it from up above. So to tie this in with this, these two different physical perspectives is when clouds go off into the distance, they get lower the farther away they go. That's approximately your transition point, in which case, as they get closer in atmospheric perspective, the clouds are obviously going to be larger. So when you do actually walk on top of it, it'll be like you're walking on clouds, right? You can put some little ones here or whatever, make it look like fog, because the idea is this is the Bay Area, right? However, in this scenario, I'll finish this off with the East Bay looking hills and somehow vignette out. And this wall facing here is approximately 6 feet tall. So you're only going to be seeing a skewed view of all this, because remember, it's 65 feet long. Nevertheless, you'll be able to see all the way to the back wall here, in which case this transition, and you can make a corner disappear by doing it in a certain way. As you're going forward, you want to force the perspective by creating larger things up front. And so as you remember, this was a retaining wall right here that's only about 1.5 feet wide. There's the front face. And it goes straight down to this part here, which is not useful at all whatsoever. And yeah, you can make that corner edge more or less disappear by using that as an implied feature of, say, a tree stump. Because we're in Marin, right? Redwood. Let's put a redwood stump right here. So the branch going out and the top view with the branches sticking that way and the little saplings coming up. That way you'd be seeing redwoods from there and recognize that immediately. So, how to bring nature outside into something that's not natural as far as the structure goes. And let's bring it back by bringing in some nature to the fore. So in this case, all you'd really do here is, planting some real plants here. That would kind of hide that. This is a drainage pit. It basically has a drain here, or somewhere, It's got drainage, basically. And otherwise it's filled out with wood chips. It's a new requirement for new buildings to have this structural feature. In which case, let me show you how I tie real nature into the faux. Now then, to blend in reality of it like a real planted plant, put a few pots in some strategic locations that mimic the wildlife or whatever it is that you want to associate with the faux, in which case like reeds, right? Because assuming this is the bay, you've recognized reeds and whatever else. Those would be camouflaged to look as if they're in mud, right? Again, no need to go into any kind of physical details other than the most essential. Keep it simple and refined, and you won't go wrong. Because you can make a lot work with a little. Anyway, that's that. And just to nail it home further, right? Add some cattails, because cattails are very much in season, all season long. Again, associated with the reeds and whatnot. In which case, when they're blooming, you got this visual right here in your face, basically, the actual size of the actual thing. And then in the background, what you see through the leaves is further not obscured, but camouflaged, merely to appear as though you're out in nature. Even though you're in the middle of a city, then you see the redwoods over there and the reeds in the distance from there just poking up. And wouldn't you know, there's normal sized cattails and then there's also a dwarf variety of cattails. So here too, you're actually forcing perspective using the horizon line as the transition zone, even though pictorially speaking, the horizon line is approximately here, because this is 8 feet tall, assuming a 6-foot person's gonna see level. Anyway, see, that's the point, you know, put bonsai over here, get the picture, then suddenly you've got like a depiction of what's left of a redwood, the little saplings that are coming up because life is so tenaciously alive. Yeah, then you just add the topiary here and there along the ledge, right, where it's most appropriate, and suddenly you have a very cool living structure. This is what I fondly like to call these things. All right. And just wanted to add a little detail example of the difference between what you could do with a rough edge and turn it into like a cliff-like feature when it's a structural feature. You can also turn it into a waterfall, in which case you either have a nice stream going straight down. Instead of it looking jagged like rocks, you make it softer like foam cascading down, right? So you can have a big ass river or a torrent coming down, as opposed to that. Just goes to show it's unlimited what you can do with this, and even after the fact, all the little details they can get added in, since this is going to be a life-size proposal, and doing it in color is just over. Hopefully you can imagine the colors that would go to this, because those you want to blend into in terms of atmospheric perspective. It's very basic. Things as they recede into the distance get lighter and fuzzier, and things up towards the front are clearer, sharper, and darker. Get it? Got it? Oh, and light source. Where's your prevailing light source coming from on this feature? What do you want to highlight as far as that goes? Whether it be artificial or natural. Check both. Remember, transition zones are important too. All from that. And this is the approximate view from 2 stories. 4 stories. So there's the 8x8 retaining wall that comes out to the side, 60-foot long expanse, 8 feet tall, with an 8-foot drainage bed. 2 residents get to share this immediate view, and a third one partial. Nice, huh? Not sure what you want with that. And here's the 6-foot wall I was pointing out. That's not going to really be seen. This is 8-foot part of the wall with that drainage bed here. And yeah, there's actually just a flat surface from there. There's no lip, so that works just fine. As you can see, about 65 feet away, that far end where the proposed redwoods are, with the walking cloud path up on top behind that railing. And yeah, I would otherwise propose something here, but they need access up to there as far as emergency access, so there's going to be some kind of staircase designed into this. All right. Well, here you have it, but not ready to reveal all that yet. Bear with us. That is me, myself, and I. Ooh. what the heck? Show you a quick preview. Can't have that. That's all in here. $100 feet by 45-foot, 10-car garage. 3 pillars and a big folding gate. Even though it's a whopping 32 feet, it only folds up into 6 feet. How nice is that? I was talking about 32 wide that folds up into a nice 6-foot section. The doorway to the hula hoops there. Viking ship, trees that blend into the AC. All the piping and stuff, those become branches. Otherwise, whole scaped off area, backside, the waves coming in from the country of Denmark, the tip of Skane out there in the far distance. You get the picture, right? Yeah. The end. And welcome to the boardroom. What we have here is a scale model of an approximate 6-foot person against the 65-foot wall, which is 8 feet tall. This is the drawing. And there you have it. Superimposing a two-dimensional perspective sketch onto a three-dimensional object. That be the reduced scale model of the mural, which this only represents a small portion of, because this is actually 65 feet long. Now, the corner essentially disappears. Doesn't matter what angle you look at it from, whether from above, third story, second story, to ground level, other than when you get to the edge. In which case, again, when you're looking down from above, you're seeing the branch hide the edge of the retaining wall. And there's your drainage bed. Comes out. There's a fence here along this edge, metal fence. That keeps people from going in there, because don't want people to trip and fall in there. Just let them enjoy the scenery. Right. And then for those up from second story and above, they'll be looking from a bird's eye view, more like an airplane view, looking down onto the clouds from above them. Just a preview of what you can expect, with of course more explanations to come when this is compared to the actual physical location and what can be done there. Right here in Santa Fe. There you go. And thank you for your time. Enjoy.